What is the social model of disability and how does it apply to neurodivergence? I'm here to break it all down to the basics for you and explain what the social model of disability has to do with neurodivergence and how it applies to you and your life. Hi, my name is Megan, and this is Neurodivergent Magic, the YouTube channel for relatable and accessible neurodivergent content. Let's dive on into it. What is the social model of disability? One of the best ways I've ever heard it described is that we are not disabled the noun, we are disabled the verb. What does that mean? Okay, let's break it down. Basically, there's nothing wrong with the way that we exist in the world. Our lack of ability is not due to who we are or how we are. It's due to the world around us. We are actively disabled by our environment. As a really basic example, someone in a wheelchair is not unable to get into a building simply because they're in a wheelchair. They're unable to get into a building because there's no ramp. And if you're thinking, well, no, some people truly are disabled, like just because of who they are, like all the accommodations in the world wouldn't make them able to live a quote-unquote normal life. I urge you to question that instinct. For instance, I wear glasses. I can't see worth a darn. If it weren't for my glasses, I would be completely and utterly disabled. I wouldn't be able to drive. I would have a really hard time connecting with others because I wouldn't really be able to recognize them from all that far away. My whole life would be different without this very basic accommodation. Because glasses are such a common accommodation, nobody even thinks to call me disabled because of my eyesight. If we were to make other accommodations just as readily available as glasses, then the quote-unquote disability of a lot of people would start to disappear because the environment around them would be enabling them to live their life. As you can see, the social model of disability really moves away from this deficits model that's really applied in the medical model of disability. The medical model says, something's wrong with you, we have to fix the thing that's wrong with you in order for you to live a good life. The social model says, something's different about you, you need to be accommodated by the environment around you in order to live a good life. You notice how those are different? The medical model pins a lot of responsibility on us individually as being the problem, whereas the social model views the world we live in as the problem. This is so powerful because we as a species, as humans, rely on one another. We accommodate each other all the time in small ways. It should absolutely be possible for us to band together and provide accommodations on a large scale for disabled folks. Now, if you're listening and you're like, hey, this channel's usually about neurodivergence, like what does that have to do with disability? And the truth is, a lot of neurodivergent folks consider themselves disabled. Now, if you're watching and you're not one of those people, that's okay. I am not here to tell you how to identify, but I am here to encourage you to think about how your neurodivergence might be a disability. And if you have resistance to that idea, I would also look into some internalized ableism around the word disability, because the truth is, it's not a bad word. It's not something you should be ashamed of being. It's just a way of existing in the world. So how are neurodivergent folks disabled? Let's go through a couple of examples. First of all, a lot of us are disabled by a lack of support and accountability, especially in the workplace. Because of our working memory and executive dysfunction issues, we often have a really hard time meeting deadlines without proper accommodations in place. We can't necessarily get the same stuff done the same way that a neurotypical person would do it. Just like a person in a wheelchair can't get into a building the same way an able-bodied person can. We're also often disabled by the lack of emotional intelligence in our overall culture. Our emotional dysregulation, our triggers, these things are often overlooked, belittled, or invalidated. And that can be seriously disabling. Okay, so now if you're watching this and you're thinking, my limitations are very real. I am disabled and it's not all this environment crap, it's me. I want to reassure you that I'm not arguing that limitations are not real. And the social model doesn't argue that either. The social model of disability simply says that those limitations are not solely your fault. It's okay to have limitations. It's okay to be disabled. But the social model of disability argues that that disability is not inherent to you, it is inherent to the culture around you. One of the things I really love is the neurodiversity movement and how it says there is natural diversity among our neurotypes, amongst how our brains work. We all have different abilities and talents and support needs, and that's amazing. Basically, disability is normal. And with the proper accommodations, we don't have to be disabled the verb anymore. We can simply be who we are, be different, and still function in our society. So what about you? Do you consider your neurodivergence a disability? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments. And as always, I will see you next Tuesday, and thank you for watching.